then how many values can you return from a function? So always remember this cardinal point, that functions can return only one value if they want to. If they don't, like, you can decide to not return anything from a function also, but usually you only return one thing. Okay, when the function hits the return, that's where the function ends. Okay, and it immediately terminates the function. Anything that you write after the return statement is never executed, even if it's inside the function block. So once the compiler hits return, it returns that and it gets out of the function. Okay, so you can only return one value. You cannot return multiple values. You cannot write return volume comma something. You cannot do that. Input, yes, you can take in as many values as you want in a function. Return is only one value. Okay, or you can return a list. If you want to return multiple values, you return one list. You cannot return multiple things. Okay, function can use multiple return statements, but only one return is executed. For instance, let's look here. If you're defining cube volume, side length, okay, the same. Now what you're doing inside the function, the first thing you do is you check if side length is less than 0. Can you calculate the volume of a cube that's in the negative? No, you cannot in math, right? So if side length is in the minus, return 0. And when, let's say you passed -3. If -3 is less than 0, yes it is. Return 0. That's it. The function ends. It never comes to this line. Okay. So that's what it's being said, that you can use multiple return statements in a function, but only one is executed at a time. So now if, let's say, side length is 4. If 4 is less than 0, no it's not. So it will never execute this line. It will come down here. Return what? 4 to the power of 3. Again, there's a typo. I think next slide is, yeah, this is right. So 4 to the power of 3. 64, right? And then this is the better way of doing it. Always try to write one return statement instead of writing multiple, because you may confuse yourself. So this code and this code is essentially doing the same thing, right? Because it's returning once. It's using if else, but you have only one return statement. So I'm not going to do it. So you make sure that you understand that this code and code on the previous slide, it's doing the same thing. If you understand this, you understand functions, or you understand the return statement. They're both doing the same thing. Okay. So avoid multiple returns. Always try to return once. Then make sure a return catches all cases. Does this catch all cases? What about when your return value is, your side length is less than 0? Does it handle that? No, because your if condition is doing this, you're returning, but then nothing is being returned if your side length is less than 0, right? If nothing is being handled in that case where the value is being set, then it's a problem. Because if you don't return anything, you will get an error over there where you called the function from. Okay. So make sure the compiler will not complain, but you will have an error at runtime. Okay. Because you will get a none, and then your program will be messed up. So make sure you have this kind of sequence in there, that return this or return this or return one value based on these two cases. Okay. So then the slides tell you what are the steps of implementing a function. How do you want to do that? I've already told you that. Then you test your function. How do you test your function? You give different inputs and see whether the function is behaving as it is supposed to. Okay, so that is testing the functions.